videoing me?
You look at me, Mama. It is July 30th, 2021.
Ethan, sit down so you don't make any noise.
Isn't it 2022?
July 31st, 2022. Nana's interview. So you're looking here, Mama. Okay, we gotta go.
Do you have brothers or sisters?
I have one sister and one brother.
What were grandparents' names?
My grandparents?
Yes.
My grandmother on my mother's side was Jessie Hastings. My grandfather was Pearlie Cady. My grandfather on my father's side was Robert Grant. My grandmother was Mary Ellen McDougall.
Did you ever go on vacation as a kid or a day trip?
Yes, we went on vacations. Every April vacation we usually went to Washington, D.C. We also went to New York City, and we went to Canada one year.
What was the most important lesson that you have learned?
The most important lesson that I ever learned. Probably to be careful who you trust.
What were your favorite hobbies as a kid?
I liked collecting stamps. I liked skiing. I liked ice skating, and I liked riding my bike.
What games did you play as a kid?
We played Red Rover, Giant Steps. We played dolls, hide and seek. We used to make things and try to sell them, like melt crayons, pieces of crayon on top of rocks, and go to door to door selling them. Or we made rock candy and we tried to sell that. Different things like that.
Tell me about your Christmas when you were a kid.
Well, we always had a Christmas tree. When I was very little, we went to my grandmother's every Christmas. She only lived 4 houses down. Her house always smelled like oranges on Christmas. And we always get an orange in our stocking, even though I would need an orange. And we always get a coloring book from my Nana. And when I was 9, I moved to Keene, and I had a new dad then, and a stepfather. And those Christmases were hard because my mother didn't believe in toys. She was super against them. And we couldn't have Christmas until my sister got out of bed, and sometimes she'd stay in bed till 12 or 1 o'clock on Christmas, so it put my Christmas off a long time.
Did you still have Christmas with Great Nana and Papa?
Sometimes. And sometimes my mother would go and get them and bring them down, and they'd spend the night there. But usually when I got up in the morning on Christmas, I had my stocking, and then I went to my best friend Gretchen's house and played with her, and she opened her presents and we played with her presents until my mother called and said I could come home because my sister was out of bed.
How were you naughty?
I wasn't naughty, Caroline. I was actually very, very good little girl. I don't ever remember doing anything naughty. I was a little bit afraid of my parents. Back then, kids got spankings, and they got into, when they got in trouble, they really got in trouble. So I was a very nice little girl, and I don't think I was naughty, really.
Did you have any pets?
My favorite pet was my cat, Sammy, and I had him most of my life. He died when I was 18.
You had dogs too, right?
I had a little, like a miniature Dalmatian that had to be put down because some girl on a bicycle said he bit her ankle, which I never believed. And when I was a baby, we had a dog that I don't remember. He was a Cocker Spaniel, and supposedly I used to ride on his back, and I don't remember what happened with him, but...
Have you ever had an accident?
A car accident? Yes.
How many?
few.
Too many to count.
Too many to count. I had a bad car accident with my friend when I was about 17,
Maybe it hurt.
16 or 17. Yeah, I was in the hospital. And another bad accident probably just before that one where I was rear-ended and the car was totaled. So those two were probably just months apart. And another accident where I was in a car with a boy and he lost control in the snow and hit a big boulder.
What advice would you give to your children?
Always marry the right person. Marry somebody that you want to spend your entire life with, because it is your entire life. And you have to really know that you're in it for the long haul, I guess. And if you can do that, and you can marry somebody like that, and you're both that committed, then you can have a really good life.
What chores did you have?
Pretty much none. I didn't have any chores that I really remember. Yeah, pretty much none. I was a really nice little girl. I got up in the morning for school. I made my own bed. I kept my room very, very clean. I was very, very particular about my room, and I kept everything in its place, and I was sure not to have a wrinkle on my bed. But as far as being told to have chores, I wasn't told that I had to do anything.
Did you have electricity, TV, phone, water?
Yes. We had electricity, we had TVs, and we had phone, and we had water. When I moved to Keene at 9, we had cable TV, which seems to shock everybody, but we did.
Did you have to share a room?
No, I had my own room. Except in the summer when my stepfather's 2 daughters came to visit. When they were visiting, I had to share my room with one of them.
Were your parents strict?
Very, very, very strict. That's why I was such a good girl. I never dared to do anything. I was terrified. They were very, very hard to grow up with.
What was school like?
School was my happy place when I was little. I loved school. Probably a lot like school is. I don't think there's much difference now. We didn't have the computers. Other than that, pretty much the same. Schoolwork, the bell rang, recess. We had a music teacher for music, art teacher for art, and
What kind of student were you?
Good.
good in elementary. And then when I went to middle school, I was in the rapid learning group. That we were broken into groups. And then when I got to high school, I started not caring about myself so much from things that were hard in my home. And I was pretty much, I was not very happy, and emotionally I was pretty much absolutely didn't care, so I didn't do anything. I didn't do my assignments, I didn't do my homework, I didn't do anything. I just like shut down, so that wasn't so good.
Did you play sports?
Not in school. I skied, and, like I said, and skated and stuff. And I played basketball with my own hoop, but not on a team in high school, no.
But you were in the school band?
Yes. My mother made me be in the high school band. I hated the high school band. It was worse than probably having to go to school with your pajamas on. I mean, it was just...
You go to school without pajamas on.
Well, how about go to school with just in your underpants? I mean, it was so embarrassing to me to tell anybody I was in band. To this day, I cringe when someone says, "Weren't you in band?" I'm like, yeah. We had to march in the band at the football games. All the girls went to the football games. I even went steady with the captain of the football team of the school that was our greatest rival. But I was mortified when we had the football games because everybody's in the stands cheering on the football, you know, and there I am in a band uniform with a big ring around my head with a silly looking hat set, and it was pretty awful. My senior year, I told my mother, if you make me be in band, I'm not even going to go. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to run away. I'm not going to be in band. And she ended up telling me, fine, your senior year, you don't have to do it. So I didn't do it.
What did you want to be when you grew up?
I wanted to be a teacher or a nurse.
What did you be?
Neither.
A mama.
A mama.
Something
Very
even more
young
important.
mama.
What was your best job?
My best job? Raising my kids, of course.
Tell me about being a grandmother.
Being a grandmother. I became a grandmother when I was, I think, 45
For Maddie.
to Maddie. And we took care of Maddie every day. And that was quite the experience because Maddie decided that we were her parents. And she wouldn't believe anybody that told her different. And when her parents would come to pick her up, she'd say, "Oh no, what did those people want now?" And she was like an absolute delight and a wonderful little girl. And we loved her so much. And she was so much fun to Papa and I, and we got to take care of her. And all of you, every single one of you, when you've been born, it's been like that. Just a thrill.
Can you tell us in a few words about when Mark was born or how you felt or what happened?
When Mark was born, I didn't know much about being a mom or having a baby, even having a baby, physically having a baby, or pretty much I knew nothing because of the way I was raised. I was raised super sheltered, not allowed to date, not allowed to do these things. So, when Mark was born, I didn't know I was in labor because my mom had told me, well, when you have a baby, it rips you into two pieces. And I was still in one piece, so I had no clue. So I went to the hospital, and they put me in a room, only I didn't tell them anything. And finally a nurse came in and she put a hand on me and she says, "How long has this pain been going on like this?" Because it was one long labor pain instead of spaced apart. I said, "A while." She says, "Why didn't you call somebody?" I said, "Because I'm not ripped in half." And she goes, "Oh dear God, these children having children." And she screamed to the doctor, and the doctor ran in, and he looked at me and he says, "Oh my God, get her to surgery now." And I said, "I'm not going to have an operation." And I started screaming and hollering, and he took my hand and he signed my name on the paper, and he goes, "Oh yes you are, little girl." And they ran off with me to the operating room and operated on me. But before they took me, there was a lady in the room with me who was 40 years old having a baby. And I thought, 40 years old, this woman is like older than God, and she's having a baby. And I said to her, "Are they going to cut me more than 2 inches?" She says, "No, sweetheart, they won't, I promise." And off I went. And afterwards I saw her, and she said, "I was so afraid that you would realize that a baby couldn't fit out of 2 inches. But you didn't. You believed me, and off you went." And that's how I got Mark. He ended up having to be in an incubator for a while because of everything I went through. And they ended up not finding a pulse on me after he was born because of everything I went through. So I didn't see him right away. And I cried the whole night. My baby's dead, my baby's dead. And some nice lady came in about 3 in the morning. She had the baby. And she says, "Honey, turn around." And I did. And she says, "This is your baby. And he's very much alive. And I want you to go to sleep now." And then she took him back out.
Tell us something about when Becky was born.
When Becky was born, she weighed 5 pounds, 2.5 ounces. And all the babies in the nursery were like 10-pound babies.
How much is Uncle Mark?
7'3". And I was standing in the window looking at all the babies, and my baby was in one of the plastic beds with a little sign over her. And this man was standing next to me, and he says, "See that baby?" And he pointed to my baby. He says, "Isn't it so sad that that baby's going to die?" I said, "Gonna die? That's my baby, and she's not gonna die." And he goes, "Oh, I'm so sorry." But he thought she was gonna die because she was like this big, and all the other babies were like that.
How big was she?
That. She was the tiniest thing. Never saw her little feet were like that.
Tell us
Like a-
something about when Katie was born,
When Katie was
or when she came home, or whatever you want to share.
When Katie was born, she was named after my grandparents, Jessie and Pearlie Katie. And Jessie and Pearlie, Jessie was my Nana. The girl in the room had a baby boy. Guess what she named it? She named her little boy Jessie. So we had Jessie Katie in the hospital room. Little boy Jessie and little baby girl Katie, Jessie Katie, which was
How
kind
heavy
of...
was she?
How much did Katie weigh? She weighed 6 pounds, 14 ounces.
I was heavier than all of them.
Yeah. And the lady that cleaned my room, she came over and she whispered to me. She came and got the trash and everything. The lady that cleaned, she says, I want to tell you something. And I knew the girl in the room with me, Jessie's mother, could hear her. She says, you have the prettiest baby in this hospital. Sure.
Tell me about meeting Papa.
Meeting Papa. When I met Papa, he's building a house next door. And I was walking through it with my girlfriend. And she was talking away to him, and I didn't say anything at all to him, nothing. And when we walked out of that house, I looked at her and I said, I'm going to marry him. And I was like, oop, why did I say that? She goes, good question. Why did you say it? I said, I don't know. It just came out of my mouth. Sure enough, I was right. I did. I married him.
Anything else you want to share with your family?
I love you all. That's all.
We love you.
Any more questions? Butthead?